Hi everyone, this is Ram from Informatica Global Customer Support Team. In this video, we'll see how to enable or disable HTTPS and Node TLS using self-sign certificate. In the previous video, we have seen what is a TLS in PowerCenter. In this, we have seen what is HTTP, HTTPS, SSL, and TLS, and how TLS works, and why we need to use a TLS, and where we'll use a TLS, what is a digital certificate, what is a chain of trust, and what is the difference between Keystore and Trustor. The agenda of this video is we'll see a practical demo, and we also see some of the FAQs or doubts which we have. I have logged into my PowerCenter server machine, and let me open node.metro.xml. It will be present in info-home ISP config, and you can see if I type HTTPS is not enabled, and if you see the node level TLS is also not enabled. Now let me go into the admin console and let me show you. You can see I am accessing the admin console using HTTP only. I am not using HTTPS, and also at the node level, if you see, and this is a node. So if you see, there is nothing like the keystore file and the keystore password is not present. So that means HTTPS is not yet enabled. And if you click on the domain, you can see the node level TLS. Now let me click on the domain, and you can see the enable secure communication. So that means at the domain level, you didn't enable the TLS. Now let's first enable HTTPS for the admin console, and let's see. As I mentioned in the previous video, if you want to enable HTTPS for the admin console, you need to create only the keystore file. You don't need to bother about the trustor file, because when you are accessing the admin console, the browser is your client. Browser will always have the trustor in its in the browser. It will have a trustor certificate, so you don't need to bother about trustor. You need to create a keystore. Now, in order to create a keystore, we use two utilities. One is key2utility, and the second one is OpenSSL. Now, where this key2utility will be present? Now, if you see info-home Java and go to bin and do ls. Now you can see the key2utility. Using this key2utility, you can create a keystore file. And also, if you go to jre bin, and you can also see the key2utility here. You can also use this one, and you can create a keystore file. Now, make sure when you are using a Java version key tool utility, your Java version should be 1.7 or above. Then only the keystore which you are creating is valid. Now, in order to see the version being used in the PowerCenter, so if you go to info-home Java, and you just run cat on the release file. So let me run cat on the release. Now you can see the Java version which is released is 1.8. So it is 1.8 or Java 8. Everything is same. So from Java 5 we'll call as Java 5 or 1.5, or Java 6 or 1.6, till 1.8 we call as Java 8 or 1.8. From Java 9 we'll call as Java 9. There is no 1.9. Now in order to know like this also you can run if you have enabled. So if you see Java version 1.7, so that means Java I have already. So outside of the PowerCenter also I have installed Java. So if you see Java hyphen version, when I run, it is showing 1.7. So you can install outside of PowerCenter also, or else you can use the PowerCenter Java in order to create the key2utility in order to create the keystore file. And if you want to use the OpenSSL, then you can OpenSSL is not provided by from the PowerCenter bundle. You just need to install it on the PowerCenter server machine. If you see, I have installed it USR bin. So this location you need to add to the path. If you see echo $path and USR bin, so USR bin is being added. So that's why when we run OpenSSL, it will be automatically taken. Okay. So but when without adding USR bin to the path, when I run a OpenSSL, it will say invalid command or invalid OpenSSL is being accessed. Okay. Now, for example, consider you don't have access to the server machine in order to see the Java version. So how to do that? I will tell you. Then you just open this KB 519956 if you don't have access to the server machine. Now it will list you which versions of Java are being bundled with the Informatica PowerCenter. Now you can see this demo is being done. I am doing on 10.4. You can also do the same, apply to everything. And if you see the Azure OpenJDK 1.8, from the 9.6, if you see we are providing 1.7 only. So that's why that means it is fine. You can just go ahead and use the key2utility provided for the PowerCenter machine, and you can just create a keystore file. Now let me go into info-home tomcat conf directory. Now this is a default directory where we'll keep all our HTTPS Keystore file. Now there is no Keystore file is created. Now let me create a Keystore file using a key tool utility. Now you might have a doubt why I am using only key tool utility. Why can't I am going with OpenSSL? See, as I mentioned, if you are enabling HTTPS, then you need only the Keystore file. When you use a key tool utility, you will directly get a .jks or .keystore file. Directly you will get. But when you go with OpenSSL, first you will get a pip.pem file. And from .pem file, you need to create a pkcstall format file. And from pkcstall format file, you will get a .jks file. So that is a hectic task. So in order to create only one keystore file, that lengthy process is not required. So that's why I am directly going with a key tool. So if you see key tool hyphen gen key hyphen dname is nothing but distinguished name. Cn means common name. So this is the PowerCenter server machine. OU means organization unit. O means organization, and L location Bangalore, and state and city. And hyphen alias. You just need to provide alias for your certificate. So I'm just providing RAM1. You can provide anything. And hyphen key pass. This is a private key password. As I mentioned, Keystore will contain the private key and the certificate. So that's why this is the private key password, and this is the private Keystore password. So Keystore password will be there, and private key password will be there. So you just make sure you need to give both passwords same. If you give the different passwords, you can't access the admin console. And the next thing, validity 1000 days I'm giving, and hyphen ext SAN. This is a very important step. Now if you see hyphen ext SAN equal to DNS colon. So in the after colon, I am giving my PowerCenter server machine. So how you are accessing the admin console? If you are accessing with IP address, then you need to provide here IP colon and your IP address. I am going to access with the host name. So that's why I am giving this. So you might ask why, what is the use of this one? So when you don't create with this option, or if you create with this option the keystore file, you can access the admin console. But even if you create with this option, or even if you don't create with this option, you will see the not secure message in the admin console. But if in order to remove that not secure message, you need to have the keystore file with this option. Then only you can remove that option, not secure message. Otherwise you can't remove. I will show you that also. And let me run. And you can see the keystore file got created successfully. Now this is the keystore file. Now in order to see the contents, you can just list hyphen v hyphen keystore, and you just provide the keystore. And if you ask for the password, you need to just provide your keystore password info@123. Now you can see, if you see the owner is same and the issuer is also same, that means it is a self-signed certificate. CSN certificates I will talk about in the next video. Okay. Now you have created the keystore file, and first you just stop your services. And let me stop my services. After stopping the services, you just go to inform ISP config, and you just take the backup of node.xml. And I'm just taking the backup of node.xml. And after this, so you have created a keystore file. That keystore file should be known to your node. So that's why you just need to run the update gateway node command. Let me run that command, and this is a command. So you can just see this is a HTTPS port. So this port is already open, and the keystore file location is this one, and the hyphen keystore password. So the command ran successfully, and let me start my services. So in some of the KBs, it was mentioned the second step after creating the keystore file. In some of the KBs, it was mentioned like you need to create a self-signed certificate, and you need to add that to the keystore file. That step, if you want, you can do, but that is not required, because when you create a keystore file, that keystore file will already contains the certificate and as well as a private key. So again, you don't need to create a self-signed certificate, and you need to add this step. One step is enough. Now you can see I'm able to access my admin console using HTTPS / and the host name which I have given, and this is the in the SAN option I have given this one, and the port number 10555. Now you can see it is saying not secure message, and your connection is not private. So let me now we will also delete this one. How to delete I will show you. So let's proceed with the unsafe, and let me log in. Now you can see at the node level, we have enabled, if you see HTTPS port is visible, and HTTPS keystore file is tomcat-conf ram keystore file.jks. Now at the domain level, we didn't enable TLS. So that's why if you see at the domain level, it is false. It is still false. Okay. Now, if we need to delete this not secure message, when you use a CSN certificates, when you enable all the process HTTPS process, which I have shown how to after creating Keystore file and everything, when you insert your CSN certificate, then directly you can't see not secure message. Okay, that is advantage with the CSN certificate. But when you use a self-signed certificate, even if it is enabled HTTPS, it is not secure message. Now, how to remove this not secure message, I will tell you. As I mentioned in my previous video, every browser will have its trust store. So that means in this trust store, in the browser trust store, this certificate is not the certificate which this is self-signed certificate which was given by INPC 104. So this certificate, if you see, click on here and you can see certificate is not valid. That means this certificate is not being trusted by the browser. That means the browser is a client. So let's do one thing. What we can do in order to remove not secure message, let's copy to a file. Let's copy the certificate to a file, and next, and base 64, you just take base 64 and browse. You just create anything. For example, let me create it in the documents. Let me create from okay, this is a certificate and I have exported, and click next, finish. The export was successful. Now I have exported this certificate. Now if you import this certificate which was exported into the browser trust store, then browser will think, okay, okay, in the trust store it is there. So from then it will trust our certificate. So let me you just go to settings, and after this click on privacy and security, and if you come down, you can just see not site settings, you just click on security, and after this you just come down and you can see manage HTTPS certificate. Now if you see here, it is a trusted root CA certificate, that means certification authority. This is the trust store of the browser. Now here you can see that certificate is not being added. Now let's import this one. Click next. Now browse. So this is the certificate. Now I'm clicking next again and place all certificates in the following store. That means I'm placing in trusted root CA certification authority. So then the browser will trust, and it is saying you're about to install a certificate from the certification authority claiming to represent this one. So that means click yes, and the import was successful. Now after doing this, you just clear the browsing cache and the temporary cookies and everything. You just access the admin console again. Now I have cleared all the browsing cache and temporary cookies and everything. Now if you see, the HTTPS is enabled, but you can't see the not secure message. That means the browser from now it is trusting our certificate. Okay, so this is the method which how to enable HTTPS and how to remove the not secure message. Now let's enable TLS at the node level and see. Now, generally, when we want to enable TLS at the node level, we'll just come to the admin console and we'll just change. We'll just click edit and we'll just change this enable secure communication. This will make true, and we'll again log into the admin console machine and we'll run update get my node command -TLS true. So when you do this, then the certificates. You will have a default certificates when you are having a PowerCenter server machine in the info home services shared security. In that location you will have a default certificate. That default certificate will be used by the node in order to communicate the TLS communication. But in this video, we have already a video where we can use the default certificate which is provided in PowerCenter server machine. I will tell you the video also. And but in this video I wanted to tell you how to generate our own custom keystore files and trust store files at the node level, and how to enable with that. So let me log in into my PowerCenter server machine. Now, when you just enable in the admin console, enable secure communication, and after running update get -TLS true, these are the certificates which will be used by default. So these certificates, when you install PowerCenter server, it will automatically it will present in services shared security. Okay. Now I wanted to create these four files again in the PowerCenter server machine, and I want to use those four files in order to make a secure communication. So if you want to create your custom certificates, you just keep this as it is, and you just create one more folder. So let me create one more folder here. So let me create one more folder, and here let's go into here. Now let's create. So So SSL, okay. So let me go into SSL, and so now let's create all the certificate 4 files here, and we'll make the communication. Now we did 4 files. The 4 files are info_keystore.jks, info_keystore.pem, and info_trustor.jks, and info_trustor.pem. So first let's run this command: openSSL request -new key. And so this command we are running in order to first we'll create one private key and the CSR. Okay. So I am creating. So if you see key out, the private key will get a private key and the CSR. Okay. Now let enter PEM passphrase. You just give your passphrase. So we need to provide your passphrase, and I am providing my passphrase here. Okay, info@123 I have given, and verifying, enter again info@123, and you are about to ask. So you need to provide everything. So what is the country code and everything? I'm just providing my country code and all. Okay, and the locality and the default organization unit, and your server name. So the server name which I am going to create is INPC104 money01. Okay. Now the email address, you can provide any Gmail address, and a challenge password. So you just provide the same info@123 here. An optional company name, if you want, you can provide your optional company name. Okay. Now if you see, private key got created and the CSR file got created. Now after creating private key and CSR, we need to create a certificate. Now here we are generating a self-signed certificate. So that's why this is a command: openSSL x501 and request. So the number of days 800, and I am inputting the CSR which I have generated in the first step. I have generated CSR. I am inputting this one and the sign key, and with my own private key only, I am just creating a certificate. Now if you want a CA signed certificate, what you will do? You have, in the first step you have created private key and the CSR. Now this CSR you need to give to the CA, and that CA will sign with his own private key and will give you the certificate. But here I am using self-signed certificate, so that's why by using my own private key only, I am just creating a certificate. Now click enter. Now enter passphrase for the private key. This is asking. So you just need to provide the same password which are given info@123. Now if you see again, the certificate got created. Now we have private key and certificate, both we have. So now what is the next step? We need to create a keystore file. So as I mentioned in my previous PPT, keystore file will contain the private key and the certificate. So that's why I'm making the certificate and the private key. I'm entering into the info_keystore.pem file. First, I'm going to create a PEM file. As I mentioned, if you use OpenSSL, first you will get a PEM file. So that's why I'm generating a PEM file. Now you can see I have generated a PEM file. Now we got info_keystore.pem file. Now we need info_trustor.pem file. So as I mentioned, info_trustor will contain only the certificate. That means certificate will contain the public key and the certificate. You don't need to enter private key. So that's why here I am not giving any private key. I am giving only certificate. But here I have given certificate as well as a private key. Here only I am giving the certificate. Now enter. Now you can see info_trustor.pem also got created. Now, if you now we need to create info_keystore.js and trustor.js is remaining. Now, as I mentioned, if you use OpenSSL, you will get a first a PEM file. From PEM file, you need to convert to PKCS12. Now, if you see, I am inputting the PEM file, and the output I am converting the PKCS12. That means P12 format. So this is the command, and you just run enter passphrase. So what is the passphrase? This is nothing but info@123. Okay. Now enter export password. You just provide the same password, and verifying an export password. It would be better if you provide all the password the same password. Now you can see info_keystore.p12 format got created. Now from P12 we need to create a JKS format. Now if you see the source keystore is P12, I am inputting this one, and the source keystore type is PKCS12, and destination keystore I am generating info_keystore.jks, and the source alias is RAM1 and destination alias is RAM1. Now just enter. You can see enter destination keystore password. I am giving the same password info@123, and re-enter the password. I am giving the same info@123, and enter source keystore password the same. And you can see now the info_keystore.jks file also we got. Now the only remaining file is info_trustor.jks. This is a command in order to create a trustor file. The import certificate. So if you see info underscore trustor.pem from pen file, we are getting directly we can get a .jks file. Okay, you don't need to convert into P12 format. The trustor you don't need to convert and just enter. It is asking keystore password. In fact, that 123 just provide and re-enter the password, and you can see it got created. Now let me no, trustee certificate. So it is saying trustee certificates. No, I am just saying yes. Just say yes. Certificate was added to the keystore. Okay. Now you can see. Now if you see info underscore trustor.jks we got, keystore.jks we got, and info underscore trustor.pem we got, keystore.pem we got. 4 files we got. If you need, you can view the contents like this and key tool and just provide the keystore password, and you can view the contents. And if you want to see the info underscore trustor, you can just run the trustor.jks and just provide the password. Okay, so if you see, these are the certificate and this is owner and everything is same. That means it is a self-signed certificate. After creating the 4 files, we need to run the update get node command. Before running the update get node command, you just log into the admin console. You just change the enable secure communication to true. Now it will say the changes must be applied. That means that you need to restart the node and yes, save changes. After enabling in the admin console, you just shut down the services, and after shutdown, you just make sure you just take the backup of the ISP config. So you just go to info home ISP config, and you can see the node map.xml. If you open this node map.xml, you can see the keystore file entry. This is a HTTPS console one. Okay. Now we didn't enable Node TLS. Now before enabling, you just take the backup of this take the backup of this node method.xml again. So this is a HTTPS backup, and after this you just go to info home ISP bin directory. Now see whether the services are up down or not. Now you can see the services are getting so this is another server, so this is another server, so that is fine, and these services are got down, and you just need to run the update get node command with -tls true. And if you see the keystore file, so this is a keystore directory, you just need to provide the directory, you don't need to provide the full file. And if you see the keystore password I have provided, and the trustor, so -nt, this is in this location we have, and -ntp. Now you just run the command. Now you can see the node is starting in TLS mode while I was starting, so that means the secure communication is getting enabled. So when you so we have enabled secure communication using the custom certificates which we have created. Now you can see in the admin console, enable secure communication became true. So that means whatever the communication that happens in the domain level, so in the node level, that means whether RS is communicating with the node or whether IS is communicating with the RS, so the communication will be secure. So in this way, you need to you can generate your own custom keystore files and trustor files instead of the default ones which you are going to use, and you can run update get node command and you can use it. Now let's see some of the FAQs and doubts which we have. How to export the certificate from the keystore file, and how to view the contents of the exported certificate, and how to export the private key from the keystore file. So that means how to export the certificate from the keystore file which you are generated, and how to export the private key, and how to see these contents. Let's see now. I am in InfoHome Tomcat conf, and this is the one which we have created, ram keystore file.jks. Now let's see how to get the certificate from this keystore file. Now this is a command, keytool -export -alias, and the keystore file, this is a keystore file and the file name. Okay. Now you just need to provide the keystore password info@123 and enter. Now if you see, you can see the certificate. Okay. Now if you want to view the contents of this certificate, you just need to run keytool -print set -file -browser set. Now you can see the contents of this certificate. Okay. Now how to get the private key from this keystore file. Now if you see how to get the private key from this keystore file, now you need to run this command. So as I mentioned, from the .jks file, you can't get the private key directly. So you need to convert into .p12. Now we can see the source keystore file I'm giving .jks, and the destination keystore file ram keystore.p12. Okay, p12 format I'm just converting my keystore file and just entering, and it is saying enter source keystore password. So you just provide info@123 and if you see .p12 format file I got. Now after this, you just need to run this command in order to get. So if you see, I am just inputting .p12. Now OpenSSL will take only .p12 as I mentioned. So that's why .p12, and the output I am getting private key.pam. Now import password, just provide the any password, and you can see now we are able to get the private key. Now .pam file, you can just cat on this and you can see the content. So this is the private key. So if you see begin private key and end private key. Now we have seen this for practically, and this client should trust all the roots, intermediate, and server certificate. Not required. So if you get a root, intermediate, server certificate from the CA, our client should not trust all the certificates. If it's able to trust only root, it is fine. That means the communication is valid. If it's able to trust only the intermediate, that is fine. Okay, only any one certificate is required, and is the order of the certificates matter, that root, intermediate, server certificate. So the order of the certificate doesn't matter when the client is a Java process, but if the client is a CPP process, then the order matters. So when you are enabling node level TLS, so that means the client sometimes might be RS or IS. So that's why when for the node level TLS, right, you just while importing into the Keystore, the CSN certificates, you just first import root and then intermediate and then server. Can we know the passwords of info underscore keystore.jks, trusted.jks and node level? That means in the info home services shared security, we have four default files which we have seen. Okay, so can we know the password? It's not required to know the password. So you don't change any password, or you don't change those files. If you want to create custom, you just create outside of directory which I have created, like info home and SSL, any directory you just create, and you just create all the four files. Is SAN mandatory while creating Keystore for the admin console? Yes, it is mandatory. So how you are accessing this? If you are accessing with the IP address, you just create SAN with the IP address. Can I use the same Keystore file of the admin console to the TLS, or the TLS Keystore file for the admin? Yes, you can use the same Keystore file. So in order to represent the different, in order to maintain the difference, we are using different Keystore, but you can use the same Keystore. And for you, the references, you can see this article 221149. So where it explained all the keystore and how to generate the custom keystore and trust store. I have shown this practically. And this article, you can see how to generate HTTPS admin console self-sign certificate. Now you can also refer to these published videos. Now, if you like this video, you can give your valuable feedback at supportvideos@informatica.com. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.